Today, I want to present a theory. Trump's trade policy wasn't just incoherent, it was deliberately misleading. It exploited the hopes of the MAGA base while quietly pushing through policies that raised taxes on ordinary Americans and cut taxes for the wealthy. At the center of it all, a strategic misuse of tariffs and false promises of a manufacturing revival. Part 1. The Trade Deficit Illusion. Let's start with the trade war itself. Trump claimed that his goal was to reduce America's trade deficit country by country. It sounded simple, patriotic, tough. But here's the trick. When calculating these deficits, like he did on Liberation Day, he only counted tangible goods. He ignored billions of dollars in revenue that American companies like Google, Apple, and Netflix make from services overseas. That omission might not affect countries like China much, but it dramatically skews our trade numbers with places like Japan. Japanese negotiators repeatedly pointed out that basing aggressive tariffs only on goods and ignoring services was misleading and unfair. If Trump were genuinely serious about cutting the trade deficit, he'd account for everything. But he didn't. Why? Because he wasn't aiming for effective policy. He was aiming for applause lines. Part 2. The Manufacturing Mirage. Next, the promise of bringing back manufacturing jobs. It's a powerful message, but it relies on a nostalgia that no longer fits the U.S. economy. In the 1980s, manufacturing had two key attractions. Low barrier to entry. A high school diploma was enough. High economic return. One job could support a family and a mortgage. That combination is gone. Nowadays, viable manufacturing is either highly automated, which reduces jobs and raises the skill bar, like in TSMC's chip fabs, labor-intensive and low-paid, like the sweatshops in Bangladesh. Tariffs won't fix that. You can't revive the old manufacturing dream unless you reinvent how we do it, and Trump had no plan to do that. The promise was empty from the start. Part 3. Tariffs are taxes. This brings us to the heart of it. Tariffs are taxes. There's a dangerous misunderstanding, sometimes deliberate, about who pays and bears tariffs. Here's how it really works. Let's say Walmart imports a product and pays a $10 tariff at the port. The supplier might lower their price by $1 to stay competitive. Walmart raised $7 on the final price and eats $2 of the cost. In this case, the consumer didn't directly pay the tariffs, but bears $7. And when the bulk of your goods, like iPhones or basic clothing, are imported, these tariffs become harder and harder to tell from consumption taxes. So what really happened? Trump sold his base a dream, that tariffs would restore manufacturing jobs. In reality, he used that dream to justify higher taxes on consumers while pushing tax cuts for the wealthy in the background. Conclusion: the real game. So what's the big picture? Trump used manufacturing and deficit rhetoric to sell tariffs. But once the tax cuts for the rich were through, aka a big, beautiful bill, the pressure from rising consumer prices will force him to back down on tariffs. Aka taco, as always. And yet, the MAGA base still saw a fighter who tried. They'll blame the deep state or globalists or the left, anyone but him. Meanwhile, the deficit grows, inflation hits, and the wealth gap will continue to widen taxes for you. Tax cuts for his rich friends. And when the pressure mounts and he gets his real go, he will always chicken out. Always. Thanks for watching. If this made you think, please like and subscribe. Comments are welcome too.